You die, and then what? Silence, the light, or a knock from the other side. This is Black Spoon.
People I know who've returned from death say that it was the most wonderful experiences of their life. And I would say to people, there's nothing to fear in death, that the fearful things are here in this life. I was not raised in a religious environment when I was a little kid, and the idea of an afterlife just never occurred to me. I always assumed that when you die, it's the end. And so it's been a long process for me to come to terms with the fact, as I gather, that when we die, we do go into this other state of existence. So now I'm confident, actually, that what we call death is a transition into another world.
Death isn't an end. It's more like a doorway. And we've been standing at its edge since the beginning of time, listening. Ancient Egyptians called it the Duat, a mirror world of judgment, passage, and return. The Tibetans mapped it out in the Bardo, a liminal zone between breath and oblivion. And the Greeks, they ferry souls across black waters, but never said what was on the other side. What if they knew something we've forgotten, not through fear, but distraction?
Einstein believed that you right now have been dead for trillions of years, that you haven't been born yet, that everything that's happened to you, if you could get the right perspective on the universe, you could see all at once.
In 2014, scientists recorded brain activity from dying patients 30 seconds after the heart stopped. The brain lit up, not shut down, lit up. A surge of energy, coherence, almost awareness. They called it the last burst, a final firework of consciousness. But what if it's not the final at all? What if that's not the end of thought, but the beginning of transmission? A soul launching.
Unbeknownst to everyone around me, though, even though it appeared that I was in a coma and my eyes were closed, I was aware of everything that was going on all around me. I was aware of my husband, who was distressed, but he was by my side holding my hand. I was aware of everything the doctors were doing. They were putting tubes in me. They were removing fluid from my lungs so that I could breathe easier. I was aware of every single thing that was happening. It felt as though I had 360-degree peripheral vision. I could see everything happening all around my body. But not just in the room where my body was, but even beyond. And it was as if I had expanded out of my body. I was aware of my physical body. I could see it, lying there on that hospital bed.
Near-death experiences, almost dying and coming back. The stories are always similar. The tunnel, the bright light, the life review. But some come back with knowledge. They speak languages they never learned, know details that couldn't have known. One child described his past death with names, places, and family, all verified. Coincidence or echoes? Like a voice bouncing off the chamber wall of the cosmos, coming back changed.
Virtually every near-death experiencer that I've talked to has said without any doubt in their minds that we do continue after death. No matter how they describe their NDE, they describe having existed without their physical bodies, when their physical bodies were essentially dead, and yet they were feeling better than ever.
What if the afterlife isn't a place, but a system? Researchers now believe information is never truly destroyed. It transforms, migrates. The universe might be a simulation, and you, a user. Every death, meaning a log off. Every birth, a reboot. And the soul, just encrypted code moving across dimensions. In Hinduism, they called it Samsara, the wheel, the cycle of death and rebirth. But even wheels leave tracks, and we've started to find them.
My clients describe death as something that is very, very beautiful for them. The trauma that has just gone before is pretty much wiped out at the moment of death. They rise out of their bodies, they realize that they're an immortal being. "Oh my God, I'm not dead," is a statement I hear quite often. And they look back at their bodies, and of course, all of their memories of all of who they are as souls and all their past lives come crashing in, and they realize that this life they have just lived is transitory. Not that they can't feel sadness for the husband and wife who is at their bedside, for example, or a child. But souls don't feel sadness the same way human beings do, because they're immortal beings. They understand that they will soon be joined by these folks they've left behind. And I can tell you this, that most people feel two things. They feel freedom and they feel joy at the moment of death.
In 2022, an AI was trained on the writings of the dead. Poets, philosophers, mystics. When asked about the life after death, it responded, "You are not ending, you are unfolding." What does it know? We built machines to talk to satellites, to stars, to planets. What if we're building one to talk to the dead? And what if the dead have already been speaking?
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, "Yeah, you sure you can control the demon?" Didn't work out.
There are stories, quiet ones, of people seeing themselves after death. Not their bodies, themselves. Standing beside the bed, looking down, or watching from the corner. Is it a glitch in the simulation? or a reveal. In dreams, we see reflections that aren't quite right, mirrors that delay, eyes that blink twice. What if the afterlife leaks through in our dreams? In deja vu, in that moment when you feel watched, but the room is empty. Maybe the veil is thinner than we think. In folklore, some don't stay gone. Ghosts, spirits, and wanderers. But what if they're not lost, just looking? The Inuit believe the dead watched over the living through auroras in the sky. Some tribes place coins on eyes, not just to pay sharing, but to keep the eyes closed, because sometimes they open again. We bury the body, but the signal remains in stories, in symbols, in data, in dreams. Every culture leaves instructions, not to stop death, but to simply recognize it, to walk with it, to learn its language. Because maybe it's not the end of us. Maybe it's the beginning of them. You just stirred the unseen. This is Black Spoon. Join us next time, because the rabbit hole goes even deeper from here. Until then, sleep carefully and question everything.